Just ahead on American Sunrise, today marks the 5-year anniversary of the events of January 6th. What reflections and takeaways do we have? We've got coverage throughout the show. Plus, top House lawmakers were briefed on the Trump administration's efforts to capture Nicolás Maduro. Will things progress from here, and how so? Missouri Congressman Mark Alford will join us in moments to weigh in. Also later, musician Justin Bieber embracing the Bible. Famous Bieber reveals how faith saved his soul during times of chaos. We have these stories, so much more, as American Sunrise starts right now.
Good morning, America.
Welcome to American Sunrise.
Whether it's culture,
we have breaking news to share with you.
Politics.
President Trump is joining us live now from Florida.
We've got you covered.
This is what it looks like to be a patriot.
We have to protect the American family.
The American dream is still alive.
I'm David Brody.
I'm Terrence.
And I'm Dr. Gina. Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. Gina. We are live with you from the Palm Beaches. Let's bring in David Brody. He's in Washington, D.C., and T. Bates in our Denver newsroom. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Gina. Welcome back.
Good morning.
Thank you. I feel like I haven't been on air with Terrence since like 1902. It's been a while.
Yes, I was a prodigy, at 2 years old in 1902. I was on the air with Dr. Gina. You also are a prodigy. You're only 3, so it was a great time.
That's right. And Joe Biden was 35, but yeah, that's a separate issue. Go ahead.
That's right. Joe Biden's 35. Hey, look, serious business. Dr. Gina, you mentioned it. It's the 5-year anniversary of J6. We, of course, will be talking about that throughout the day. But we'll also be talking about Nicolás Maduro. He, of course, was captured and was in court yesterday. Top U.S. lawmakers talking about his capture and the trial that will be pending as it relates to Nicolás Maduro. In fact, Speaker Mike Johnson saying that this isn't regime change.
This is not a regime change. This is a demand for change of behavior by a regime. The interim government is stood up now, and we are hopeful that they will be able to correct their action. They cannot participate with narco-terrorists and very dangerous international criminal organizations that harm and target Americans, frankly, and traffic all of these dangerous drugs into our country, that do all this great harm to our country. They cannot continue that activity. We have a way of persuasion because their oil exports, as you know, have been ceased, and I think that will bring the country to a new governance in very short order. So we don't expect troops on the ground. We don't expect direct involvement in any other way beyond just coercing the interim government to get that going.
Nicolás Maduro, of course, pleading not guilty. Dr. Gina, I want to get your perspective on this. Mike Johnson saying this is not regime change. It's the change of behavior by a regime. When I heard that, the first thing that came to my mind is a quote that I've mentioned to you quite often from Tamara Bates, my wife: "Don't urinate on my garden and tell me it's raining."
Oh, my gosh. Well, we're off to the urination start early on.
Well, I think I'll just let that rest with Tamara. I think, she makes a great point.
Fair enough.
And I think a lot of people are going to ask those same questions. This is something, I think, a theme that we'll be hearing as we go forward. Was this regime change? And if it was, then, where does that put us? Right, going forward. I don't know, David Brody, I'm curious your take. I have a feeling that you have a big one.
Well, yeah, I can go on for a while. We got to get to our guest, obviously, though my ego suggests that I should talk for about an hour and a half. But a couple of things here, or I'll just say one thing. President Trump talked about, when he was asked about boots on the ground, he didn't rule it out. He actually said, yeah, we're probably going to have to do something like that. He was kind of generic about it. So my question is, okay, so who's protecting the oil? It's not the Cuban guards. They're dead, so to speak. It's not. Is it the Venezuelan military? This just in. Don't trust them. Who's protecting the oil exactly? That's where I'm concerned about boots on the ground in Venezuela, U.S. boots on the ground. We'll see. It's all worth monitoring, guys.
Absolutely. All right. Today's Bible verse goes like this, Ephesians 3:20 through 21. Now, you know why I'm laughing, guys. I'll tell you, audience, as soon as I say this Bible verse. Now, to him who is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us, to him be the glory in the church by Christ Jesus to all generations forever and ever. Amen. The really funny thing about that is I guess that every day when I say the Bible verse, I always say that's my favorite verse. So today, David Brody's like, I dare you to say, yeah, that's not really one of my favorites. The really funny thing is, if you have a card or a letter from me I've ever written, I write Ephesians 3:20. Or when I sign my books, Ephesians 3:20. That is one of my very all-time favorite Bible verses. So this was not the day, David Brody, I could go, meh. All right, listen.
That's hilarious.
Today marks the 5-year anniversary of January 6th, a day of many know has been used by Democrats and the media to attack, and Republicans, let's be real, to attack President Trump and his supporters and all of MAGA. Trump supporters argue the events have been politicized. They say January 6th is, a distraction that just used to justify censorship and target the America First movement. For many, at least on the right side of politics, this day is about demanding election integrity, free speech, and government that works for the people, not the elites. I want to bring in Missouri Congressman Mark Alford. Congressman, 5 years later, I just want to ask it like this. What's your takeaway?
We still haven't gotten to the bottom of the truth. And, another Bible verse, the truth shall set you free. I don't think we've been set free from what ailed us 5 years ago. I think what ailed us was Americans were dissatisfied with the election. Not just that President Trump was not seen by some as winning the election and Biden was going to be seated as the president. I think the American people were dissatisfied that the entire process was not up to snuff and still isn't in a lot of areas. We've got to get to the bottom of that. Barry Loudermilk, who is the chairing a special select subcommittee now, appointed nearly a year ago by Speaker Johnson, is hoping to get to the bottom of this. Some of the things that he's learned already that have come out is that President Trump did call for the National Guard to come in, and that was not heeded. That was not that did not happen soon enough anyway. Nancy Pelosi, she was on videotape saying that it was basically her fault that the Capitol was not secure. She was right in that. Look, we have a lot to learn still. The problem is that the sham hearing led by Liz Cheney and other rhinos as the ranking party, and of course the Democrats who wanted to do anything to discredit Trump and make sure he never got into office again, they failed on that measure. A lot of that evidence has now been destroyed or misplaced at best, and we've got to get to the bottom of it. And that's the only way we're going to heal as a nation. The sad part is that some people don't want to hear the truth, Gina, and that even as this information comes out and is revealed, the sentiments of a lot of Americans online and in public. They hate President Trump so much that they're not willing to hear the truth.
Yep, that's exactly right. And this sham J6 committee, if you just do a quick Control F, to find certain words in that long report, you don't see the words "march peacefully and patriotically" by President Trump.
And the video that the BBC edited that just came out a couple of weeks ago clearly shows. I was watching President Trump's entire speech that day. I was on the news and we were watching it. And there was a clear separation of the words that he said and how the BBC and others compressed it to make it sound like he was saying, everyone, raid the Capitol. That's not what happened. And the American people, a lot of them were duped by the legacy media. Because of their hatred of Donald J. Trump as well.
Yeah. Let me move to Venezuela. Well, I don't want to move to Venezuela, so just to be clear, but I do want to talk about...
Got some property to sell you down there if you want.
That's actually, I could probably get a good deal right about now. That's true.
Yeah.
Members of the Trump administration have been briefed, or briefing, top House lawmakers. They did that last night on this whole thing. Here's what Speaker Mike Johnson had to say. Take a look.
With regard to the war powers and the compliance with federal law, We are not at war. We do not have U.S. armed forces in Venezuela, and we are not occupying that country. The Constitution gives Congress the power to declare war. That is true. But it also vests the President of the United States with vast authorities as Commander-in-Chief. Under Article 2 of the Constitution, the President has the authority, as all presidents do, to deploy military forces to address threats to the U.S. and to enforce U.S. law. That is what happened here. The War Powers Act states that notification should be made to Congress within 48 hours following the initiation of hostilities. As we've noted, and I've made many public comments, that happened almost instantaneously here. My first call was at 4 a.m. by Secretary of State Rubio.
Well, you're going to hear from President Trump later on this morning at 10 a.m. there at the Kennedy Center. There's GOP is going to meet with him. What are some of your questions, and what's your crystal ball look like? What's the Congressman Mark Alford crystal ball look like in Venezuela here?
Well, first, let's get to that. We are meeting with President Trump at the Trump Kennedy Center.
That's right.
Clarification there.
Did you just fact check him live on air? Really, Congressman? That's what we're doing on a Tuesday? You're fact checking us live on the air?
All right. Let's get beyond that. Sorry. Look, I think most members in Congress, even Republicans, they have a lot of questions they want answered. There's no doubt we are going to get those answers. The briefings that I've been in the huge SKIFF, which is the auditorium here at the Visitor Center. It's one of the largest SKIFFs in the world, if not the largest SKIFF. The problem is that Democrats treat it as a leaking sieve, not a SKIFF. And as soon as they leave those meetings, they blab about what went on inside the SKIFF. You're not supposed to do that. And that was a problem. That's why this administration could not tell Congress ahead of time. I fully understand it on this law enforcement exercise. The police in your hometown, if they've got to go arrest a drug dealer, they're not going to go to the media or the city council and say, hey, look, we're going to go in, we're going to go on this guy's property at this certain time. They don't need leaks. The president didn't need leaks. The administration didn't leaks. And God knows our military did not leaks to put them in harm's way. I get that. But we are going to get answers. Every question that we have asked inside these SKIFFs has been answered. The Democrats don't like the answer, and that's why they come out and blab and try to turn the narrative in a different direction. It is their modus operandi at this time because they have no message, no leader, and no vision, and this is all they can do is try to detract from Trump's wins. This is a win for the American people, and America First doesn't mean America only, people. I want to tell you this right now. America First means that we are going to be the strongest nation, a superpower once again, regaining the respect and authority on the world stage, protecting our Western hemisphere so that we can live in security and peace in America, period.
Exclamation point. Congressman Mark Alford, you are one of my favorites, by the way.
Well, thank you, Gina. You were too.
And that's a true story. All right, listen, thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Congressman.
Happy New Year. All right, coming up, we're going to check out the hottest headlines from the Wrap Newsroom with T-Base. He's also one of my favorites, by the way. And later, we're going to talk to someone who was convicted, sentenced, and pardoned in connection to the January 6th events. How has life changed for him? We're going to ask the question just ahead on American Sunrise.